Welcome back, man.
Yeah, man. It's good to be back. I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm still here.
all them gray hairs from the birthday celebration now. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, this is 40 coming in now, man. So I'm cool with it.
It looks good on you,
Because
brother. It
the
looks
the
good on you.
alternative is to not be here. So hey, I'm cool with it.
Facts. Well, like I said, it looks good on you. So tell the people, man, because we've been away for a little bit. I mean, we had to allow you to get your celebration in. How was the birthday celebration? I mean, I wasn't able to be in person, but I know family came out. How was it?
Yeah. So it was a good time, man. I had my parents flew out, and one of my sisters and her son. So they came through, came kick it. All of a sudden, I'm sitting there outside chatting up with my family, and I hear footsteps, and I'm like, man, I know it's not my wife's footsteps because my wife, dainty, angelic, and these footsteps are like two grown men that are coming to like kidnap me or something. And I turn around and it's two of my buddies from high school that just popped up in Switzerland. I was like, what are y'all doing here, man? So like for like I don't know, probably the next 5 minutes, I was actually quiet, which was weird for me. They're like, "Man, say something." I was like, "I can't, because I don't know where y'all came from. I ain't get no email that like the black population has increased by 20%. I ain't see nothing. Like y'all just popped up out of nowhere in Switzerland. So it was nice to see them. They came through with their fiance, girlfriend, and the one guy brought his mom because we always used to go over and kick it at his house. So I know his mom; she's really nice. So they
Wow.
came through for a couple days, and I got to show them what it's like to, just hang out in Switzerland, and the mountains and all that, and everybody's like really impressed by the beauty and man, and to see like my wife's family get together, so my married family coming, and then my family also being there to celebrate me, man. There was like uh 40, 50 something people that were just outside. We had a nice little barbecue, had the tent set up. One of the surprises was a horse-drawn carriage. So we like,
You're a
like
40-year-old man with a horse-drawn carriage over here
bro,
dressed up. I like
I
that.
felt like a
Okay, look at
princess,
you.
bro.
That's different.
Like all of a sudden, this horse out, you hear the clop, 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 and I'm like,
Yeah.
the hell, man. So yeah, there was a horse-drawn carriage with like, um, there's like a cooler filled with some Capri Suns, for kids, but then also like a bottle of prosecco and some glasses. So I just instantly was like, all right. So we took all the kids, and I think there were like 8 children or 9 children, but only 8 of them came on. So they got onto the carriage, and then me and my wife rode it around. So 30 minutes, the my party guests were able to be child free for 30 minutes, and they all appreciated that, man.
Every
So
second as a parent, as you know, when you get those free moments, you like,
that's
this is
it.
heaven, dog. Let's
That's it.
enjoy.
Wait, you want to take my kid for a walk? Yes, please. Like, take them. Walk until tomorrow. Like,
Right.
yeah,
If you happen to forget to come back a day, that's cool. That's
yeah.
cool.
If you want to
I'm
do a sleepover now, fine. Yeah.
right.
So
Like
yeah,
I am gonna put on alert after a certain point, but for a little while, I'm okay. I'm okay.
look,
Just go.
I'll wait 48 hours. Okay,
Right.
so just just chill. But yeah, we took them out, man, and then when that carriage left, another horse came up. So my wife's cousin brought her horse
Oh wow.
with 2 baskets attached to the horse that were filled to the brim with alcohol. So
Okay.
I'm like, yeah.
I like that delivery service. You know?
Yeah. So I'm like, wait, what? So I'm taking down these baskets, man, and like my cellar, it's got a nice little stash now of
That's what's
just
up.
wines, beers. Like I was like, okay, man, I like
Man,
this. So
you had a very eventful 40-year-old birthday party. Now let me ask you this, brother, because I think up until, and you can correct me right if I'm wrong. I think up until I was the first one to come see you from back home, right? And then up until the birth. Oh, go ahead.
no,
Oh,
I had one buddy from ASU that came through.
right,
Uh,
right, right, right,
but
right.
yes,
But I was the first family member to come.
yes, you were the
Right.
first
Okay.
family member.
Right. So And saying that though, I know, but your friends are like obviously are like family because I mean, them coming, back in town. But how did it feel to finally have mom, pop, sis, there in your now new home, all the way from uh, Cleveland, Ohio to Zurich? You know what I'm saying? How'd that feel, bro? Like, talk to me about that process.
Man, having them here and showing them, like my everyday, it was just different, man. And for me, it's important for them to see like where I'm at and why I'm here. And when we were talking about moving out here, they gave us a bit of, oh, but why? Like, Ohio has mountains. I was like, wait, what? What? No, what mountains? I was like,
Oh,
what
we
mountains
the
are you
same.
talking
You
about?
know,
Like,
beach.
Ohio's
Where
fat.
you at? What you talking about?
We got hills, bro. That's it,
Not,
man.
that's not mountains. That's not
That's
mountains.
not
That's not
mountain, man.
mountains.
So, they didn't quite understand like
Hey,
why we were
Forest Hill
coming
don't
out here.
count. Forest Hill don't count.
Yeah, man.
Sorry.
So, they didn't get that. And to show them why, and hear from my mom, like, oh, okay, I see why you guys live here. And I like it, and then get that message after they're back in Cleveland that like, dag, I actually miss being out there with you guys. I'm like, yeah, see, like now you understand. Like,
Oh, they said that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. My mom said that. So it's like you see, this is a reason why I'm here, man. So it's a very proud feeling being able to share that experience with them.
That's good, bro. Yeah, I have to say, man, having experienced it, firsthand, because your environment and your home now is such a unique location. um it's it hits you different in your soul.
Mm,
It hits you different where you stay. I mean, you have, what, the Swiss Alps behind you, right? Like, am I correct?
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
you're at the end almost of the Swiss Alps. So like, I mean, like, this is historic. Like, this is like everybody knows about, like the Swiss Alps, and you live at
yeah,
the base of that, and your backdrop from your bedroom window, you can see that, and it's like
yes,
that power on a daily basis. It's almost majestic in a sense. I mean, then your wife's family's farmland that you guys have out there. It's just, it hits you different, and I can only imagine what my uncle and auntie and and cousin felt. But I'm glad that you got a chance to, like you said, show them your day to day and actually
mm,
get them tactile, because it does something different to the soul when you're actually physically there. You know what I'm saying? So especially
right,
like, because it's one thing to have family, like when you were in AZ, and you was in Phoenix and they were in Cleveland. You can go and see the desert, but it doesn't, it's like, okay, if you're from Cleveland, you ain't really been, in desert heat like that, especially coming, hottest time of the year, that might impact you a certain degree, but it still is not the same because you're still in city, still the same kind of environment for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Not US,
yeah.
right? I mean, I'm just speaking from my standpoint, but what do you think?
No, no, no. You're spot on, man. Because in the U.S., you're still attached. You're still, I would say, home, right? So
Yes.
it's even if you go to a new state, like you're still a part of something that you've been in for forever. And so to jump on a plane and fly over, an ocean and come kick it in a new country and experience something like completely new, that's something that changes you. So a lot of these people, a lot of my friends that came to visit, I think three of them never left the country before. One of them,
Wow.
she just started dating my buddy. So in a brand new relationship, they got passports and traveled to a new country together that neither one of them had been in.
That's dope.
Uh,
That is
my
dope.
mom is the only person in my family, or in that those four that came, that has left the country, right? So my dad's never left the country. My sister, and obviously, my nephew. So, they put together, got passports, and just left. And I was able to take them to, similar to like you, but a little bit more. I took them out to Germany, obviously Liechtenstein, Austria. We missed Italy this time, but next trip we'll make sure that we tack on Italy and consider driving to France, that's a reach, but
Yeah.
at least adding on Italy for next time, man.
Yeah, I
So
mean, yeah, because that was dope. Well, because what you took me to three, you took them to three country because you have like literally two or three countries within a couple mile radius of you. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
that is always so again, like I said, you're such a very unique, and I have to say, like, I don't even think unique is such it doesn't even give it justice to where you stay, and where you are. Well, we tried to show it. If you guys didn't see our very first episode, we go back. I'll put it in the show notes below. But our very first episode, when I got a chance to sit down with my cousin Doc, and we were able to talk, and we actually shot with the backdrop of where his home is. Um, I don't think you still don't get the understanding of
yeah,
just how,
yeah,
like I said, and majestic is a better word of trying to describe it. It's just so popular. Then, like he said, he took me to three other countries within a 10-mile radius of his house. So I'm like, who
yeah,
does, like, how do you live in this type of area? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I think the decision you and wifey made in order to, move back to her hometown was the right choice by far. And I kudos to you for making and continuing to make the adjustments that need to be made. And I know it's not easy, 30, you talking 35 plus years stateside, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
you're learning, Swiss German, you're learning a new language, you're learning a new culture, like you said, from a minority perspective, not only being foreign to German from being American, but you're also obviously, Captain
yeah.
Obvious, you're a black man, right?
I might stand out just a little bit in this
Right.
in this.
Just a tad, just a tad,
It's
you
just
know. Where's Waldo?
can't
Oh, he
quite
right here.
can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something different about him.
Right.
Like, yeah,
The
man.
fastest where
Yeah.
Waldo ever. Like, oh, he right. Oh, he right there. He
Oh,
right
him.
there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. No,
awesome.
yeah, we see him.
So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, so the kids are going already having experiences that they would never have been able to, uh, you know, organically immerse themselves in had you stayed, comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I think that's dope what you're doing, and I'm glad that, like I said, for your 40 year young, welcome to the 40s.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Yeah, yeah, he's behind me a few years, y'all. So, he's the baby to me, but he's awesome. But he's such a leader and such a great guy. So I'm happy you got a chance to enjoy that. So I'm glad to have you back, so we can get influence these individuals on the next chapters of their lives. So you've had a lot happen. We talked before we had to go on the break for your birthday. We talked about the pivot you were making into now creating a brewery, right?
Yes.
Um, and uh, I don't think we really expressed to people what also, was I guess, what spurred the impetus to say
The
yes to that. Yeah,
catalyst.
the catalyst to that.
Catalyst.
Uh,
Yeah.
did you want to just kind of like break down a little bit what also, even though we did talk about the fact that what you were already on that path anyway of trying to figure out what you want to do for yourself, but what also led to you kind of say, okay, I really need to pull the trigger now.
Yeah. So what led to that is your boy got let go, man. You
Right.
know, it between me and my direct boss, there were a few months of just like miscommunication, and the you could feel that it was off between us, communication just wasn't there completely, even though we would sit down and have these meetings. I would take an understanding, she would take an understanding, and then we never really met up in the middle. Essentially it was, with it being a startup and a newer company, they have some deadlines and some audits and things that they're trying to get through. And I was doing my part and also some of other people's parts to make sure that we were, all functioning. And so on my end, I missed a few deadlines, specific time points when they needed something. But, you know, from my perspective, we kept afloat and we were able to do so much more because the whole thing wasn't breaking down. I was helping everyone else that needed this help. These things needed to get done. And, for me, it was that. And so it wasn't until after the discussion about them not renewing my contract and, planning to let me go, because out here they do a 3-month notice.
Mm.
So, planning to let me go is when finally, I was able to just like stop and talk to her, like just full, open, and honest, like, this is what's been going on. And, to get the response from her, like, oh, wow, I didn't know. And I was like, yes, I know you didn't know because you never asked, so that miscommunication that was going on for so long, like I could feel like, oh man, it's just, I knew something's off, something's off, something's off. And so to finally, at least, at the end, doesn't matter, but to have the conversation, and let her know, like, this is what you were missing. And then in the 3 months, of prepping to leave, like things actually were, I would say things were actually better. It was like that threat, when you feel like this could happen, and you have that like inclination in the back of your head. And so you're like fearing it for a while. Well, because it already happened, it was gone. It was like, okay, like I don't feel that pressure. And
Uh,
then the work that I was putting in was still the same work that I was doing the whole time, but now it was actually appreciated. It was
uh,
like, oh wow, thank you for getting this SOP written up in 3 days. Like I didn't think it was possible. And it's like, yeah, it is possible when let me
do your job.
work. So is I understand that they're under a lot of pressure to hit these things, but I am not a let me sit and fester in this pressure, right? Me, I'm going to systematically break it down, and I'm going to work on this till it's done, and then work to this to get it done. And I'll, it's like a zigzaggy type motion, but I'm working on all that I can to make sure it's done to its like fullness and make sure it's done right the first time. It never makes any sense to me when people rush out something and it's like, okay, well, this is done. Okay, now you have to go back
Back
and
then.
fix it 2 or 3
Right.
times. I like, just let me focus and let me do what I'm still hired to do for the next couple months, right? And then and get it done. So with that time, you're able to see, or they were able to see, like, oh wow, oh okay, like holy crap, I'm writing up these SOPs, and they're like, whoa, this is perfect. Like no notes, no like, hey, go back and fix this. It was all like, oh shoot, oh cool, thank you, And so when it came time to finally leave, because I had a coworker that was like, I'm very impressed that you keep coming to work every day. I say, it doesn't matter. Like the professional thing to do is you hire me for a job, even if it's ending, I'm still going to come here. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do because that's the right thing to do. Like a lot of people get so like, butthurt about, like, oh man, F this job. And, they want to go through and break stuff. And I watched a lady go on a tirade at a hotel she got fired from. She went to the breakfast bar and started pouring all the milk on the ground and knocked over the cereal and apples. Like, F
What?
this job, F this. It's like, why? What's the point? What's that? It don't do nothing, man. It don't do nothing but
Scarred.
prepare a jail cell for you,
Right, right,
possibly. You
and it
know?
scars you for anybody who following back up with your old employer. Like you can't do that. You can't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do
So it's like, I came in to do what I was still technically hired for. I did my thing and that was it, man. And so, during the exit interview, when they finally are like, okay, well, they're going through what paperwork we needed to finish, and like anything else, which there's nothing for me on my end. But they're like, okay, so, with that, is there anything else? And I was like, yeah, well, if this is it, yeah, I got nothing else. But I do have one suggestion or one, like question or so. And they're like, yeah, what's that? And I was like, why don't you let me keep that laptop, man? And it was, I feel like it was a very spur of the moment question.
Okay.
and you can kind of see their faces go, huh. And then I let them know. It's like, look, I'm the only person that knows this labeling system because I'm the one that put the entire labeling system together
Right.
and created the automation and all that, for them. So it's like, look, I'm the only person that can troubleshoot it without waiting, 2 months for someone to come in and do it.
Okay.
And I was like, I still know all the processes and I can write SOPs. So you need SOPs written. You need help with this labeling process. I can be contracted out.
Huh.
And so, you
Huh.
can go ahead and pay me like 250 an hour, something like that. But but I was like, yeah, I could be contracted out or reached as a consultant for these portions. And it would be a lot easier to do such if, I had a laptop. And so to go ahead and keep this laptop that was bought brand new anyways for me and um just go ahead and let me keep that. And then you can reach me and I will be glad to help, down the road. And so took them about maybe a day
Okay.
or so to get back to me. And not my direct boss, but the CEO reached back out and was like, yeah, absolutely. Why not? Like, yeah, bring it on in. We'll get it wiped and then we'll get it back to you. Like, why not? It's a good idea. So,
Huh.
I showed them what the need
Yeah.
that they had and was able to show them that I could feel that need even as a consultant. So
So okay. So a few things I need to backtrack on and make sure we bring this because you said a lot of things in there that were powerful. I think that a lot of people are in your shoes, in your circumstance, getting laid off, right?
uh,
Unbeknownst to them, especially doing multiple, partners' jobs or people's positions, while still trying to do theirs, right?
yeah,
Um, and the miscommunication not being there from C-suite to them, and they feel like they're not being heard, and then they get wrongfully terminated. You have experienced just that,
yeah,
but I wanted to talk about the first point that you brought up, professionalism. You stay true to what you contractually said you were going to do, regardless of knowing that there's going to be a finite time for it to be over. You
yeah.
still said, I'm going to be a professional, which I guess, what made you not go to the food bar and pour the milk on the floor? going, going to the lab and break all the beakers
Yeah,
and burn the white coats. What made you not do that? Like, what made you like? I
it's
know the professionalism you said it, but go a little bit deeper. Like
yeah,
you delivered. What made you do that?
it's for me, it's just that type of like crash out, man. Like that's not in me. You know what I'm saying? It at the end of the day, in my eyes, the way I see it is, I was hired, a few years ago to do a job. I was going to do my job regardless, right? And for me, I wanted to really make sure I showed them, like, I don't know what I mean, you told me what issues you thought we had, and I want to show you and let you see, like, really see now, especially, like, we can pull the curtain off, like, really let you see, like, this is what I've been doing. And for me, like, I can't do that if I'm sulking and like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and like, so I wanted them to really see, like, this is what I've been doing. This is what you paid me for. All right. And this is what now you will be missing. And so you have to replace me with I think they did tally, no, wrong word. They like divided up my work amongst 6 or 7 other people.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm like, so you have to now involve half your staff to do
Well, one
my
person.
job,
Yeah.
you know?
And yeah,
And
and then try to do it to the excellence that you delivered,
right.
which is going to be virtually impossible because now you got 6, 7 hands in a pot, That's gonna be like, I
Right.
mean, that's just off of just factual like knowledge. It's gonna be virtually impossible. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
Like it's like when one person's doing something, they have a specific way and it's done. But now when you have 6, 7 more hands that are in it, it's all gonna start to vary. And so for me, watching this, it's like, yeah, sure, I don't mind. I will show whomever, whatever questions they ask, I'll answer them and I'll show them to the best that I can what I do on a daily basis. But now it's up to somebody else. And so, they could see and feel like, oh man, this is different, like, and then I don't mean to put this on the other employees, but it is what it is. And so,
but let me address this to the audience, because you talked about your story, your path in transitioning from the States to here to Zurich, the absence of a career, being the provider, and feeling inept at times while trying to pursue the, quintessential provider position and the career that you were, able to do. And you talked about in those videos when we were talking, in those episodes, you were talking about the character adjustment, development that you were going through, right?
yeah,
And this is where I want to say to everybody, see, it all kind of still ends up being important on how you go through the process of struggle. Because even when things get good again, which they will, and they did for Doc, but then they got again a little shaky, not due to him, due to the company misunderstanding and not seeing it. But because you went through that character development that was forced on you and the move from the States to Zurich, and you worked on finding gratitude, you worked on finding, your happy place and your mental place where you understood the process that you were going through, just stay doing the work, right? It all comes back again to where you could, like you said, because you were doing the work. You
yeah,
were doing the work plus others, again. And this is so typical of so many people in corporate America, especially when you don't own the business, right? And you're
mhm,
not the one, in control. You were doing the work, but it got perceived by the uplines as you weren't doing things right. You weren't getting the SOPs on time, da, 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 da. So
right,
you're like, well, okay, now that we have this conversation, now that you're getting ready to let me go because you give me a 3-month window, now you get a chance to let me focus in on what I was doing anyway. You get a chance to see how excellent I am in that. You don't do it by saying these things and throwing the milk on the floor at the food bar. You do it by being professional because you
yeah,
have been in this position before. You know what I'm saying? And you
right,
recognize it wasn't about what you show to your wife verbally or what you said to your kids verbally. It's about how do I show up for them on a daily basis and really work on changing my internal so my external can be better, right? And
right,
not worrying so much about the praise or lack there or even the reward, more so just focus on being the best person for yourself, which is what you just did again in this case. And by doing that, then we fast forward to your exit interview. And this is the other part I wanted to bring up. So we talked about you were a professional and that's just who you are, you were saying, but you have built yourself to be this way. Two, you said you didn't have going into the exit interview, you didn't already have in your mind, I'm gonna ask this laptop. You were so present to recognize that it was important to see a need that may be filled and not be ego or not be so self-pity, right? And woe is me, but be very present and very aware to say, okay, how can I still be of service, but also to get what I need? So I guess my question is, how were you prepared to do that? Because again, like you said that you didn't go into it with the okay, if they say this, I'm gonna hit them with
yeah,
this. You didn't do that. You were
right.
like, when they asked you, you said you weren't even thinking, but you just like, how were you ready for that, bro?
I honestly, man, it snapped into my head, while they're, excuse me, while they were talking. Once I heard that phrase, like, is there anything else? Like that at the end of it, it was like, is there anything else? And it's like, yeah. And I guess like if you can step out of your body for a brief moment and like look and like process everything, like I'm always thinking, right? Always thinking. So once I said that, like I had this moment where it felt like I just like stepped out, I looked,
Hmm.
and I was like, man, you know what? you don't have the, at the moment, it's like you don't really have the money to buy a new laptop, and you need one, and you have work that you're trying to do. Like, I'm trying to build a company. It would
Right.
be a lot easier if I just had this already. And so
You're not
then
trying, by the way. You
I
are building a
stepped
company.
back in, and I was like, yeah, let me keep this laptop. And so, for them to do that, I mean, it's a big relief.
So, but again, I go back to, because I got to walk y'all back on this. This brother is saying some powerful things that he's delivering. He's delivering like Jordan did in the last few seconds of a game. He's delivering like LeBron did, in the last few seconds of championship games. You know what I'm saying? And Ray Allen did. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
Yeah.
delivering the excellence necessary. I don't want people to skip past this, because so often in that same question, is there anything else? When you are a low-level person and you haven't done the prerequisite work on yourself before you get to the actual game, right? You do the prerequisite work. You said you elevate it. And so we always talk about, I've always said in the episodes, is the routine that you have, right? So my routine in the morning is get up in the morning, gratitude first, then meditation, and then gym, right? The meditation piece, though, is key, because what it does is it allows for me to elevate myself and get myself to, like you said, have an out of body experience to see as best I can where I am in this present moment. So when things do hit me, I can do the same thing again. Now, am I going to be perfect at it? No. But am I going to be prepared for it when the opportunity hits? Yes. You did that exact same thing. Most people take that phrase because they don't do the prerequisite work. When they get into those exit interviews, is there anything else? They'll take that question and they'll say, "Oh, this is my time now." Yeah, you're right. There's something
Yeah.
else.
Oh, I
Like,
didn't like you and this and that, and I had this problem, blah, 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 blah. It's like, nah, man, there's no
I ain't
point.
like you, your mama. I didn't know your mama. I didn't work with your mama, but I ain't like you, your mama.
Like, yeah.
Like, but you're
It's,
right. But like you said, everybody wants to be in their fields,
yeah.
and they want to be so emotionally overly present to where they miss the opportunity that's being afforded to them. And like you said, by the way, I don't know if you heard me. I said you're not trying to build a business. You are building a business. You're doing it. But
Appreciate it.
and these are the things that show why you're doing it. You were able to take a moment that most people would glaze over and just say, "Yeah, but by the way, did you see what I did these past 3 months?" Like, yo, like that has nothing to do with nothing. Like they're still letting you go. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
That's,
saying? Hey,
your day still ends today.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. Oh, by the way, I hope y'all like, or even if you try to leave off with some grandiose, remark that you hope will affect them. You took it away where you said, "Okay, there's a need. I have a need. They have a need. Let me see if I can address both of these and be
Mhm.
aware to articulate it as such, not just, hey, let me get that laptop off you one time. You don't need that shit." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, no, look, you have a need for the services that I was providing. You still need help with that periodically. I'm still available. If you let me have the laptop, I can obviously do it and do it, in a fashion that will be, expedient and for you to get what you need from me. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you have also possibly locked yourself, again, we never know, until it's done, but you possibly locked yourself in for another way to earn an income by being a
Yeah.
consultant. Like you didn't,
Yeah.
you didn't have that ready to go. You just made that up on the spot.
I made it up.
Yo,
It's like so many people live for the moment, man. I'm trying to live for the future. I'm trying to figure out like what is it that like I need this. I need to make sure that my path stays clear. You know, I don't need all this extra like gunk in the way, man, and just jamming me up and causing me heartache and all these issues. Like, so I was like, yeah, man, look,
say that. Say
I can
that.
still be of value here. Pay me some money. I can help you down the road. That's a quick little like, yeah, sure, I can dedicate 5-10 minutes for me. For them, probably take a couple days, but that's why, you know,
But that not only, I mean, that has so much impact on your future as well, though. I mean, Doc, because I mean, now you can have those credits to where, yeah, I was a consultant and I did X amount, I did X. That's something else to add onto the CV that most people won't be able to do. You know what I'm saying? To take because the fact of the matter is you're going to be a consultant to the company that lets you go, and it's going to be for another company that comes to you. If I'm like, well, wait, you still work for that company that lets you go? Like most of the time when people let them go, it's like that's a done deal. They cut ties, you know what I'm saying? But you were still able to still do work for them, so therefore the relationship must not be severed. Bridges must not be burnt. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a thinking person, which some C-suite people are not. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying you set yourself in a situation where most people take 4 or 5 steps backwards because it's emotional, because their finances are fucked up going forward, right? Because the career
Yeah.
is done. They take 4 or 5 steps backwards. You end up honestly taking 6 to 10 steps forward, in this particular moment, if I could just be candid with you. And as a
Yeah.
staffing agency and as someone who deals with talking to C-suite, hiring reps and dealing with candidates, hearing stories, seeing what's being said, asking you said what before you left? We can't call we can't call them because you did what when you left out of there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You took stuff that wasn't true. Like what
Wait,
like we're still doing
you
that?
took the coffee machine?
Right, right. Like, right, this ain't your first
Bro,
job at 18.
bro,
You're 37 with 2
give me the
kids,
coffee machine.
and you
Like,
took the
yeah.
coffee machine for your life because you wanted to make a point. They ain't gonna take from you. I'm like, this is what we have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? This is how people respond to stuff. You know what I'm saying? In
Right.
real time. So I'm glad that so this is why I'm happy we have this platform. I thank you for sharing and being so vulnerable. And I know, if I can state it, yeah, this is the only time you've ever been let go, right?
Yeah.
So,
That is
um,
correct. Yeah.
I know it's new to you, you know what I'm saying? And because it's a taboo-ish feeling thing, right? And I throw this up because again, you've worked on yourself. You're very aware of, again, processes of life.
Mhm.
You're a doctor. You do experiments. You know what I'm saying? You think this thing is going to work. I put these variables in. So confident in a sense because you like I did the research and it comes to find out it doesn't work. You could feel like a failure, but then you realize no, I just got to go backtrack, reverse, re-engineer, and work through and see where where things messed up, right? So or things didn't go the way I had planned within the experiment, right? Same thing is analogous to the current real life situations of your career path, right? You didn't do anything wrong, in this particular case, you didn't. It was misunderstood. Even though in the misunderstanding and getting cleared up, there still wasn't a backtrack on their behalf, but you still didn't take that as, like I said, the negative. You always look like you said. I like what you said. You don't want you want your path to be as smooth as possible. You said without all the
Yeah.
murk. You said, and I think that's beautiful because again, you're like you said, you're looking for the future. You're not looking for just the present moment of okay, how can I get back at you because you
Yeah.
hurt me or you messed me up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's dope, man, what you did there, because I think this is exactly what people need to understand because it's 2025, man. People around what I'm experiencing, people around the world are going through, job losses, situations. I mean, you got war in Ukraine, you got war in Israel and Iran, you got, what I'm saying? You got Trump in office, you got, layoffs happening, you got tariffs
Yeah.
happening, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's what's happening, you know what I'm saying? So people are losing, good people are losing positions, losing spots, and they're trying to figure this thing out, because they're over leveraged. They got kids, they got dreams, they got, goals, they have the Joneses they're trying to keep up with. All these factors put pressure on you, mental pressure, emotional pressure. And I'm just glad to hear you didn't allow that to happen and you rose to the occasion to where now you're helping your business. You know what I'm saying? Even better
Yeah.
because you got a laptop that you had to pay €2,000 for, or
Yeah.
Swiss francs for, rather. You know what I'm saying?
I can go ahead and hold on to that. So yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah, and you're probably gonna get some more income coming in because they're gonna call you for the consultant piece.
you
So,
got down right. Yeah.
yeah, so and so I also wanted you had previewed me to when you got let go or you were aware that you were gonna get let go. Because I've talked about this in other episodes as well. Again, trying to prepare yourself to brace for the lapse in career, right? And trying to get into a new position. You also put out your CV, I guess, again, right, to other
Yeah, of
locations.
course.
Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you didn't hear from one or in immediacy because it was about a 2 or 3 month span, I guess, when you first sent out your CV. But then you end up hearing from. Can you talk about that to a point?
Yeah, for sure, man. So, once I knew that I was gonna be let go, it's like, all right, so let's just get back to it and start putting out these applications because, even with opening a company, starting a business, like I still have to provide in the immediate, right? And so it's a lot of people forget that. Yeah, so I still have to provide like in the immediate. So it's putting out some applications. And found a company that's a lot closer to home. So it's cut would technically cut down on the commute. And I applied to a few positions at this company, and I got like an email back for one of them saying, like, thanks for the email, or thanks for your want to join our team, but unfortunately at this time. So it's like, all right, sure, because I've seen no's before. And then I'm checking my LinkedIn and I see a a name from one of the hiring managers at that company, and they like have gone through my profile a couple times. So I'm like, okay. And then I get an email from them, and they're like, hey, so our company is currently going through some restructuring in the with our hiring managers, and so we wanted to revisit some of the applications and applicants that you know um, that maybe didn't get a fair shake. So I was like, oh, okay. And so they had a couple questions for me about some of the different techniques that I've worked on. So sent them an email back, and it just was a really positive feeling because it's like, man, like, okay, so, I previously got a no, and then they reached back out to me and they're like, wait. I don't know why. Essentially, your profile got skipped over, but I got some more questions for you. And it's like, yeah, sure. So, and then let them know, hey, feel free to reach back out anytime, ask me some more questions. Like, cause you know, it's me. I'm him. So,
Yes,
but
you
yeah,
are.
man. So it's a very positive feeling, knowing that that whatever restructuring they're doing, they reach back out to talk with me. So that's a very positive feeling.
Yeah, and I'm glad that that happened for you because again, we talk about the importance of whether you're in a position right now, especially if you're in a position right now. I was talking to a good friend of mine. He's with a fintech company and he's doing well. And his position has been locked in for the past 3 or 4 years at this company. He's doing fantastic, but he still puts out his information for headhunters to send his information out to see if see what the market is doing, see what his position is doing, if anybody's looking for him, that his type of credentials, what they may pay him, what kind of benefits, all this stuff, right? So he could just stay apprised of what's going on, and in case you never know, they might let him go, right?
Yeah,
So he's in a position, but he still puts it out because you always say it's easier to get something when you don't need it, right? So
yeah,
so that's one. In your case, I think it was genius. You still put it out. And I mean, of course, anybody's gonna say Captain Obvious. That you knew you were gonna get let go. You need to find some other work, but it's not necessarily Captain Obvious because, like you said, you are building a legit brewery. You are in the inception, but at the same token, day-to-day footsteps of making that come to fruition within the next 12 to 16 months aggressively, right? So you're doing the process. So you like you said, one could say again, you're going to get your severance, you're going to get your stipend, however they call it there, you're going to get your money, so but you still need to be able to take care of a lot more, what I'm saying, that comes along with trying to start a business, especially one as massive and as time intensive and as capital intensive as a brewery, right? So I think it was smart for you to put out the position or put out your CV again. But I just want to make sure that people understand it may not hit right away, right? Because again, companies are always doing different things. You're a person,
yeah,
you're constantly evolving. Companies are just like people because people run companies. Things are always changing. So you never know. Like you said, they contact you saying that they're doing wiping away of the old and kind of like revamping some things. And they came across your resume and said, hey, somehow we overlooked this brother. You know what I'm saying? Because he is
Yeah.
there. And we need to, check in again to see, why did we miss? Why did we look over him? So you don't know, but it is a good feeling because also too, for you, it does give you that battery in your back again that's necessary right now to know that you still sought after, you're still wanted. You know what I'm saying? Which is a good feeling, which will also propel you to continue, which I'm hoping you're still doing, putting out your resume, throughout your work days, or, as you're going through building your business, but still just seeing what you can bring in. Cause it'd be great to, get another position that's closer to home, like you said, that may not be as time intensive, especially on the commute, but also too, maybe it won't be as time intensive on the workload, but you can still bring in, 275 a year, which will, or 325 a year, which will add to your ability to be able to take yourself off the books while you build, your business. You know what I'm saying? Now you can put that 275 or 325 into, the company. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
not the, you know what I'm saying? You put your percentage in. So these factors, guys, again, we're talking about it in real time. Doc in Zurich, Switzerland. Actually, you're right outside Zurich, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. What's your specific city again?
Oh, hey man, I don't want anyone coming to my tiny little farming community. Okay, we'll stick to Zurich.
You know what? Hey, street code 101. What am I doing over here? I'm making the waters hot for the fans to come through. My bad.
Hey,
I'm
man.
sorry. I
Yeah, cause
apologize. You after
I don't
he
need people having to come check in all the time. Like, nah.
Yeah, he in
Yeah.
Zurich. Yep, he in Zurich. He in Zurich. Yep, Zurich. Yep, because like saying he in Cleveland. Like
Yeah,
he in Cleveland.
yeah,
Like
that's it.
you don't know
Yeah, I'm
what.
from Cleveland. Oh, what part? Oh, okay. Well, I grew up in Warren. Yeah, So,
Yeah, no, that's not
yeah,
my bad.
man.
My bad. I took the L on that one. I ain't trying to make the block out. You're right, but all I'm trying to say is back to the point of he's doing this in Zurich. So don't think you're the and you see he's going through the corporate, ebb and flow of having a great position, doing the right work, not being seen for the right work, getting let go, having to address, the company on the exit interview, and address the higher ups and still have the wherewithal to not take it personal, not to be emotional, but to be present in the way of how can I get what I need as well as be able to deliver still in order to be able to get more what I need later on. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that was genius. So whether you're in, I don't know, Tennessee, if you're in Montana, if you're in Ohio, New Jersey, wherever you are, and you're getting laid off and you're going through your feelings right now of how you should approach the situation. You heard him talk about he was professional. He maintained doing what he gave his word he would do, which is, that's just a man being, just as a person, really, fuck the gender. That's just a person being respectable of humanity and staying true to what's right. So thank you for that. I'll give you roses on that. But you did it. And then,
Yeah.
like I said, the other people almost feel like they need to fall. And then too, you're pursuing other career, other opportunities that may happen for yourself, and you're ready, you're alert. You said they asked you about a specific skill set. And again, I don't know how you do your training, to re-up on your knowledge and that, but I will definitely say to those of you out there, make sure if you haven't done any certifications or any, continuing credits within your particular niche, it's imperative that you're able to, as he was called on the spot, to answer some questions. Of course, he's done this, and he does it well. I'm just imploring the rest of you, if you've been in your position for 8, 9 years and you haven't really, read up and you haven't tested the waters to see what's coming down the pike, get that extra information, get that extra knowledge so you can be ready when they do call to ask you, hey, do you have this skill set? Do you have this certification? Do you have this coding knowledge? Do you have this software, usage knowledge? You're ready. Okay, because you don't. That's the worst thing to get the call. You're like, oh, I put that resume out, 6 months ago, and then they
Yeah.
ask you, and you're like, oh, wait, you want what? Oh, well, let me go
Wait,
get that
what
real
is
quick.
that?
Yeah. Hey, chat,
Yeah.
real quick. What, hey, can I put you on hold? Hey, chat, real quick. Tell me what this is. you know, or Chad, I guess.
Chad Chipatini.
Right, Chad
Yeah.
GPT. Tell me what it is. That's an inside joke. The babies say Chad GPT. They don't say Chat GPT. for Doc. So all these factors, again, we want to make sure here on Higher Power and Tech, we talk to you guys about everything that's pertinent to you right now within your pursuits in your career paths, whatever that might be, whether you're entrepreneurs like myself and Doc now is 100% more so, but or if you're corporate like Doc still can do, right? And it still does. We want to make sure you're doing the right continual processes, and it starts with like I talked about. I'm gonna shut up and give you the platform in 2 seconds. It's important to have a outside routine, or what I like to call your personal workflow. Because if you have a personal workflow, it will allow for your workflow to have that smooth flow that's necessary, not to be perfect, but to be able to, I love what you said, Doc, about how you like to, zigzag and take care of things. But it's
Yeah,
also too because you're at a still point in your, adult life and in your parenting skills and your husbandry and your manhood. You've done a great job of cultivating a certain structure and routine to your life. So therefore, they actually are very they amalgamate one another, where it doesn't get so chaotic just because this is chaotic, because this is
yeah,
actually, stoic, if you will. That makes sense, right?
yeah,
So you do that by developing routine, people. Take care of yourself first. And then that way you put your mask on first. Once the mask does have to drop out the airplane because the plane is going down, it's chaotic, you're able to be calm, to reach up and find it and grab it and put it on and be able to do your work and do what you got to do from there, and then put your mask on your kids and do everything else. Okay. And then let the plane do what it does at that point. But at least you can breathe. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So, what do you want to say, Doc?
Oh man, nothing, man. It's just I don't know. During this whole like time, this whole transition of on my way out, it just every day, going in, doing my thing, doing what I was still technically hired to do, and I don't know. I just something about it it was a proud feeling, I guess. So like, look, I'm gonna just get my stuff done. I'm gonna do this work. I'll show you what you've thought that you weren't seeing, and I'll show it, up front. But there was no reason for me to rub it in anyone's face, and I wasn't doing all that stuff, man. You should have been in a room when they were letting me go. So I came in there, right, and I was like, do 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 do. Hey, what's up, everybody?
What is wrong with
And
this boy?
man, boy, did that like that the temperature in the room just went. I was like, oh, what we doing? Oh, all right. And they're like, yeah, we're not gonna renew your contract. And I was just like, okay. And I think it confused them because I was like, okay. And the CEO was crying, and my direct boss, the person who was letting me go, like eyes are welled up, and me, I was like, okay, like, all right, cool, like because it's like,
Yeah.
man, what I'm gonna sit here and cry or something, like it's nothing. It is what it is, man. You've clearly made your mind up, and I'm not gonna sit here and beg and plead and or get angry, anything like that. So it's just like, all right, yeah, cool, got it. And then that's when it clicked in my head. It's like, all right, we got work to do. Like we have more work to do. Outside of here, we got some stuff we got to get done. Let's re up this CV, and let's hit the ground running, man. Let's get it
And let
ready.
me ask you, this, Doc, because when they said that to you, you knew you were doing the job at hand plus, right? So I
Yeah,
guess could you? I guess in my mind, I'm thinking you're like when you're doing what's right and what you're supposed to do. I don't think there's no need to necessarily feel any type of negative or sadness, because it's like, okay, that's what you think you see. That's your right to feel that way. My job is
yeah,
not pick myself up from here and keep on moving, because I got to keep going forward. But and you talked about a sense of pride. and I love what you said because you brought it back up. It wasn't to kind of show them, the last 3 months. Oh, this is why. What can you kind of dig deeper into what that pride feeling was coming from for you? Can you articulate that a
That's
little bit?
just a me for me type feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's like I wanted to make sure that I left them with that impression that like it feels like something's just missing, you
Uh,
know? Like to your core, like, man, something's just not right, you know? And so you you solidify someone's mindset if you're, oh man, oh blah 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 blah, like cursing people out and they're like, no, yeah, I made the right decision, you know? Or you just like, well, okay, well, now I'm gonna just stop working then for the next 3 months. Then they're like, yeah, okay, I made the right decision.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
in this form, in this fashion, for me, it's just like one, this is still technically my job, and I'm gonna do it to the nines until it's done. So I'm gonna do that, right? And then that other feeling for them is just like, man, this okay. Well, how do we replace that? Like you
yeah,
can't, you can't possibly replace that. And so that for me is just I just wanted to make sure, man. Just there's so many good people at that company, and they'll be just fine. Even with being a startup, they're gonna go and go do some fantastic things. But so am I. You know, so
facts.
it just it's just zero need, and I can still lean on it because I still have conversations with the CEO like, hey, with fundraising and with this or that, like who'd you talk to? What's the purpose of going in there and burning every bridge? And now when I need help on starting a company, I can't go and talk to a company that literally just started. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's
Yeah,
the purpose of?
because I love what you said too, real quick. I just want to jump in on this. You talk to the CEO. Now it's literally two CEOs talking to one another. Have you really realized that?
Yeah, plain and
Have you
simple,
realized
man.
that? Have you
Yeah,
realized that though? So on some real shit, like now legit is two CEOs, not an employee talking to the CEO. It's two CEOs talking to two CEOs, talking together. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So, I forget what book it was back in the day, but there was a line that said, with every perceived failure comes with it the seed of equal or better good.
hmm,
And all you did was take a perceived, failure of being let go. And every moment even from being the moment you were told they're crying, eyes well up to crying and stuff.
yeah,
You're like, okay, there's a seed here of something that is equal or better good. It's my job to water that. I can't water that if I'm sitting here trying to, dig up the dirt, around
yeah,
what happened before. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just, this is why it's just so important. Everybody listening to this, stay your. This is what they talk about. Put your blinders on and stay your path. He said he was committed to doing the job that he said he was going to do. He stayed his path, even though knowing that particular passageway he was going down had a barrier up at a certain point. But it still didn't mean that he can't hop off that path and go somewhere else. And it's
right,
important that he keeps his legs moving, his foresight, to see what's going down the next path. And I always, I know I sound like I'm always trying to talk esoteric, or I try to go off in these analogous phrases, but I think it's important for us to do so because and take our mind to that, because we get so caught up in the muck of the frustration, the hurt, the disrespect, and I say disrespect because you feel disrespected. For some people, like I did all, like you could feel disrespected. You did the work. You
yeah,
were doing two persons and three people's jobs. That's why things were delayed from what they thought, right? And then
yeah,
they come to find out as they see for 3 months when you're able to do what they paid you to do in the first place, it is, beyond reproach. Now they need 5 to 6 people to cover you up. So you could feel disrespected, but you chose not to go that route.
right,
And I think what we tell ourselves and how we talk to ourselves when we're going through the frustrations and the disappointments or the seemingly failures it's imperative that we hear different paradigms and different ways of thinking and communication in us that still bring out the same fucked up shit, but just said a different way, right? In order to get to the better of the fucked up shit. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm
I,
trying to say? So it's like, hey, that's why I try to I talk the way I talk, because I just think it is so important. You know, you delivered. I remember the first time I got fired. I want to say the only time I got fired. Yeah, the only time I
yeah.
got fired, it was 24 years ago. I was working at Bally's. I got let go because I wasn't reaching quota. They fired me on my birthday, right?
Mm, mm,
But I'd already started my other business. Literally, I was the reason why I wasn't reaching quota for the last 3 or 4 months, because I was working on my other business. You know what I'm saying? So I
right.
could be mad at him. I was like, I understand. You right.
Yeah, like, yeah, fair enough.
Y'all right. I gotta go. You right. But with that though, it freed me up to go 100% to my business, and then we ended up getting, you know, at the time the Atlanta Hawks and the Falcons, right?
Mm,
But that perceived failure, I didn't go, like you said, I didn't go into it thinking that was not only because I was working on my business, but because it's not my mindset. That's just not how I always see glass half full, not half empty. You know, that's why
yeah,
we're cousins, right? That's why
that's it.
we
That's it.
always see the betterment of a situation because we know we're better. What you said, I'm him, you know, and you don't say, you know, I know that's the phrase now the young people say, but it's important for, you know, her to say she's her, him to say he's him, because that means the responsibility is on you to not react, but to actually take the proper response in a circumstance that may be unfavorable and make it better. And it was what you just did. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So, um, yeah, all of us out there, man. Let's just keep on taking Doc's wonderful example and present real time and apply it. Okay. But Doc, thank you for sharing that, man. Happy 40th again. I know you a month in now, almost until you
thank you. Thank you.
into being 40, but I'm glad. You know, and I have to say, I'm glad that and it must be a good feeling for you to be the one to be there in Zurich, to be able to have your family be able to come out there to that unique, beautiful area to have that experience. Like you said, I think that's powerful too, because like you said, your mother, your father never been out the state, out the country. You know, your sister, you know, as far as I know, never out the country, right?
Yeah, definitely never.
Yeah. So uh, by you taking this leap, I gave your flowers earlier for your kids and your wife, you doing what you do, but I also want to, you know, you're doing great because you're able to now, you just gave them an experience that even if they don't do it again, it still impacted them. I know in ways that they, you know, that only can help, you know,
Right, right,
in
right.
other dynamics. So good job, man. You know,
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Anything else you want to leave with the audience before we close out here?
You know, don't be afraid to ask the questions. You know, what we say, closed mouths don't get fed. So you might think it's a super long shot, but you know, you'll never know unless you ask, man. So, you know, we shot this episode from my personal life.
Flex on them. Flex on them. Flex on them. Let them know what you shot that from.
Yeah. You
The
know,
company will let you go to. You got that
yeah.
laptop though, dog.
That expense
Legit too.
saving question. So you
Yeah.
know, but yeah, don't be afraid to ask the questions, man. So
You know, real quick, that's the best flex because you didn't you didn't walk out like the coffee machine. You
yeah,
actually asked and it was granted. It's like
that's it.
they
That's it.
wiped it clean for you and everything, bro. Like,
That's it, man. So you know, it's brand new, and you just it just shows another thing. It just shows for me. It's like, man, like this doesn't speak to my character. You know what I'm saying? They let me go, but we're like, oh yeah, please, yeah, take the laptop. Is there anything else you need from us? Like I'm like, shit.
can I get that coffee
Let me
machine?
think about it,
Can
man.
I get that coffee machine? Can I get that too?
You know what? Now I do want the coffee machine, but I'm gonna ask for it instead of just snatching it out the wall.
Right.
Yeah, like yeah, let me go ahead and I want a cabinet, a full cabinet. Like I don't know why I don't need it, but let's just take it. Let's
What
just
you
take. Let's just take it off the wall. I'm gonna just,
Now we get now your Cleveland showing. Well, you don't even need a cabinet. What you doing? Like, I want that. Let me get that
bro, why
wheelie
you
chair
got a
too. Let me get that
random
wheelie
cabinet?
chair off your hands.
Uh-huh.
Like, what you doing?
Let me get a swivel chair, a stapler.
What I say, wheelie chair? What I say? What's a
Yeah.
wheelie
Oh,
chair?
and you know what? I always like this hanger when I walk by. Let me go ahead and get that too, man. I could put it. I got a place for it in my house, right?
Oh,
Right about
we
there.
so black right now. We so, get that hanger. What you
Yeah,
doing?
we took a turn. Okay, episode done. Thank y'all.
Hey, we gotta keep it true to who we are, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know, like after all that
can't be
professional
too
stuff done,
corporate.
huh?
Can't be too corporate, you
Right,
know.
right. After all
No,
that
I'm still
professional
here.
talk. So let me get that hanger. What do we do? You know, you said a cabinet. I be looking at my, I'm like, who has all these file papers anymore? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Where'd this paper come from? Why we got everything is digital? Give me
Right.
that. Give me this.
We talking about
All my
AI.
kids got stuff to draw on. Oh man.
That's good shit. That's good shit. Well, I'm happy for you, man. Good shit. Yeah. Let's go and close it out, and we'll see these people in the next episode.
All right. See ya.